exercise. We'll get into a check-in activity. We'll do our breakout rooms and having a conversation, and then we'll do a checkout activity. So, with that being said, our breathing exercise today is simply going to get us grounded from everything that's going on right now. And I think it's important for us to come into this space of having a conversation by being present. So in this next slide, what you'll see is a list of things of how you can get yourself set for this breathing exercise, but I'm just gonna go ahead and give us directions. I know it's 8 o'clock in the morning. Some of you are still having your morning coffee, and I'm just gonna get a good morning stretch in. Ah, you guys could join me too. And I want you guys to loosen up your shoulders, sit however you feel comfortable. And what we're going to do is take a deep breath in our nose. I'm going to hold it at the top and then exhale. And we're going to do this about 3 or 4 times, but I want you to take another deep breath in your nose, hold it at the top, exhale. Do that 2 more times. Deep breath in your nose, one more time. Get a good deep breath in and exhale. Okay. So I want you to notice right now how you feel after taking those simple deep breaths, compared to how you felt coming into this conversation. Um, so right now, if we can transition to the next slide, our check-in question, as we get into this community circle is, one more slide. Our check-in question today is, what are you looking forward to this upcoming school year? And I want you to type your questions, or excuse me, your answers into the chat. What are you looking forward to this upcoming school year? Um, and then I'll have a few of our team members read some out loud. So go ahead and take time, about the next 30 seconds or so. What are you looking forward to this upcoming school year? And then enter your answers into the chat room. See a few of our teachers reading some new books, meeting new people, creatively figuring out how to connect with students in our new environment. Miss Dennis, I'm looking forward to students sharing their creativity. Another parent said deep and thoughtful learning,
Mhm.
building resilience, getting back into a routine. I'm seeing a lot of family feedback. I think it's going directly to me, so it's okay. I'll read them out loud. Feeling less guilty when I work because they will have their work and purpose.
Mm.
Another parent says a safe space in these troubling times. Miss Noble says playing with technology with students and finding ways to feel connected with students online, and then witnessing Zoom aha moments. Routine, stability, a sense of routine. These are all really good. These are all really good. So I want us to transition for the sake of time to get into our breakout rooms. And I think there'll be at least around 17 of us in a breakout room. So I want to provide as much time as possible for each of us to at least say something or at least hear what others are thinking in our breakout room. So, our big question that I want us to share as we go into these breakout rooms is, how do you take care of yourself in online learning? So that's our question today. How do you take care of yourself in online learning? If you can share your name, your pronouns, and then answer that question in our breakout rooms, we'll have at least one staff member there helping facilitate the conversation. How do you take care of yourself in online learning? What does that look like for you as a parent, as a guardian, for your family at home? How do you take care of yourself in online learning? And I think this space is just going to be good for us to connect and hear and listen. And then once time is up, we'll return back into our large group. So in a moment, we're going to transition into our breakout rooms, and you should be seeing a notification coming up on your screen. So we'll see that in just a bit. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. Um, had a really good discussion with our group, and I wish we had more time. But right now, we're going to transition to our checkout activity or quick question that I want to ask you guys. As you all know, we're in this pandemic together. We're in the same storm, right? And I think it's this next slide. It shows that we can all be in this storm in different boats. And I want you to add into the chat room what your ship looks like right now, going into online learning during this pandemic, and then yeah, we'll just read some out and then go from there. But what does your ship look like? And choose an image. I see some sixes. I see some fours, a three, a two. I think a lot of us are on the same page. Yes, fours, four, six, a three, four, five. I'm trying to see if there's any ones. We need to talk to you if I want to get some feedback and learn from you. There we are. Joshua, got to talk to you, man. um,
You're funny.
but yes, that's our community circle. I hope you all enjoyed this quick 20-minute segment. In real life, we would have much more time with our students, but for the time being, this is what we're working with. So thank you all for your feedback. Thank you all for being open and taking part in this activity. And then we'll go ahead and transition to our next segment going here. Thank you all.
My gosh, I think that's me. I'm Carrie Noble, and I teach math here at IVA, and I was just so happy to be a participant in that last section that I forgot that I probably have to say things now. So this next little section was put together by the math and science department. So it's kind of around this concept of struggle, because many, but not all, have experienced some struggle when they come to math. We've got a little background music for this one. We can move on to the next slide. Okay, so we're gonna do a really quick word association game. We're all gonna unmute ourselves at the same time, and then there's gonna be a cacophony of words. We're gonna do this word association. You're gonna say the first word that comes to mind when you see the picture. And we invite you to speak openly and honestly, because our first feelings are not facts. They are just our feelings. And then it's what we do with those feelings that matters moving forward, especially when we talk about math and things like that, because a lot of people have a lot of emotions when it comes to math. So we're gonna go to the slide. I'm gonna count down 3, 2, 1, and then you're gonna unmute and say your word. Okay, are you ready? Next slide. You can go to the next slide, whoever's my slide. There we go. Okay, 3, 2, 1. That totally worked. I could hear the word fun and exciting, and I think I heard a scared in there. I see somebody typed in fun. Awesome. Okay, next slide. And again, it's okay. Like, some people love roller coasters and some people are terrified by them, but some people are scared of them but still get in line and get on the ride because they know it's worth it. Okay, 3, go to the next line. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Fun.
I'm just scared.
Overwhelming.
Yeah.
Okay. I heard overwhelming, scared, tedious, I see in the chat, and then there were a few people who were like fun, and I was like, yeah, that was fun for me when I was little, but a lot of people found this kind of overwhelming. Okay, next slide.
Bye.
3, 2, 1.
Teamwork.
Interactive.
Too many people.
Cute. Okay.
The past.
The past. Yeah, I really liked teamwork, no masks, too many people. But I did also hear
the
like
past was brilliant.
Yeah. I do also hear engaging, teamwork, and this is kind of the goal of like the IVA math classroom, is just a little more engaging. we will try to translate this into online learning the best we can, but the past, I guess, this was the past. This was our third class of IVA students. Okay, next slide. 3, 2, 1.
Old school.
Antiquated.
Intimidating. Intimidating.
Okay.
Full.
Patriarchal.
Very.
Yes. Okay, old school, patriarchic, I heard in there somewhere. Yeah. A little intimidating to be up on the board, maybe. Okay,
Yes.
next slide.
Cute.
Maybe.
2, 1.
Cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me.
That's
Learning.
me.
Learning.
Yes,
Fun.
exploring and learning. And so the question is like, this is a child's first experience with math, right? Like this is math. They're learning shapes and they're putting pieces together. And we can go to the next slide. But for many people, math turns from this fun, joyful activity of exploration to something that's difficult and provides struggle. Not everybody feels this way, obviously, but in the chat, can you think about at what point does math turn from that joyful, fun activity to something that maybe provides a some anxiety?
Yeah, and if I can just add, I don't want the title to stress anyone out. It's just what makes you say that.
Yes.
It's not be a math equation.
Right. So I'm reading some things that say when students get graded, when it's no longer tangible, when you don't get it, when it becomes abstract, which some people are saying is algebra. Once grades come in. 4th grade groups, when they're put into groups and you're at the bottom group. When it's disconnected from daily feelings, when there's letters, geometry for some people, when it's memorization, misunderstood, when you too much homework. Okay.
When it's fast, I think.
Yes, when it's fast, when it feels like, when you feel like you can't keep up.
Yes.
Oh, that's Samantha Mitchell's mom. She's already emailed me. So sweet. When there's too much interruption, when kids are worried about what other people are going to think. Oh my gosh, you guys have so many feelings about this. I can tell by the speed at which messages are coming in that this is striking a nerve. Okay, we're going to go to the next slide. And then I'm going to pass it over to Gabi Schmidt, another math teacher at IVA.
Hi, parents. My name is Gabi Schmidt, like Carrie just said, and I teach 7th grade. Thanks for being with us today. Just along these same lines, we're going to do a couple more just fill in the blank statements. So if you guys can use the chat again, hopefully everybody you all have good chat skills here. So just go ahead and fill in that sentence. Doing math makes me feel, lots of things coming in, ashamed, stressed, excited, bored, fun, confused, challenged, overwhelmed, capable, smart, stressed. Okay, so we have this huge range of emotions, right, that come with feeling math. And we, as teachers, we definitely see these same things, in our classrooms. So, okay, let's see the next slide. We're going to do another fill in the blank. When people finish, so put yourself back in being a student. When people finish their work before me, I think, what statement does that bring up for you? What's wrong with me? I'm not as smart as everybody else. I did it wrong. They rushed it. That was fast. I'm not smart. Maybe I don't understand. So we see the fact that somebody turns in a paper, we translate into these statements about ourselves and our intelligence and our worth and who we are as math students so quickly. And I think this is even just subconscious for so many students. They see that and they just confirm some statement about themselves as a math thinker. Okay, let's do the next one. I think there's one last one. When you were a student, did you prefer asking or answering questions in math class? Okay.
I really like the people that are saying neither or yes, both.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see, people are kind of all over the place. Some people like to have the right answer and show that. And other people love to push our thinking farther and ask great questions, or are totally willing to ask if they don't understand something. One of the things that someone put up above with when math became not fun, somebody said that when it was used to show your worth. And I think that is so poignant, and we see that so much, that particularly in math, when people struggle in math, it somehow becomes about their self-worth. And that whole idea of growth mindset, right? Of like, we see something hard and we think that that says something about ourselves, instead of like, oh, this is a difficult math problem. So we wanted to give you guys a few minutes to go back into your breakout rooms. It's going to be pretty short, but we just wanted, if you could go to the next slide, we just wanted to give you a couple minutes to think about this for you, particularly as a parent. What is it like to help your student when they struggle in math? And it might tap into some of your own, anxieties and things that you've had with math yourself. But what does it look like to not just shut down and be like, yeah, I'm not a math person either. But how do we engage and struggle with our students and help them to kind of not get stuck in that fixed mindset about their perspective on math? So for the parents, you can either share one of those responses and kind of elaborate on that from the fill in the blanks we just did, or just answer one of these two questions. When my child struggles in math, I can help them by, or how can my own relationship with math affect my child? So we're gonna just go into breakout rooms. We're only gonna have about 4 or 5 minutes. It's gonna be super quick. Just get a few thoughts out there before we go on to our last section. So I think we're going to get sent now.
Thank you, Jackie, and thank you, Gabi or Ms. Schmidt. Hi, everybody. I'm Ian McCurry. I teach literature and composition and creative writing, and what we're going to be doing now, and is sorry, I have like 2 screens open and I was like looking at the wrong screen. Is what we want to do in our last kind of portion is talk a little bit about, give you guys a little bit of exposure to like culture. We got some happy music playing. Thanks, Miss Bryant. We're going to talk a little bit about like the culture at IVA, or try to give you guys a tiny picture of the culture of the classroom and the types of thinking and things that we invite students into. Again, just to hopefully help give you guys a picture of what that looks like. And as I think Mr. Michaeli shared earlier today, we're going to be kind of doing some of these same things with the students. So you're kind of getting to experience what they're going to be experiencing later on today. Okay, so there's a big question up there, and the question says, what is culture and what are some ways that art and culture connect? Just to say a quick thing about this big question, one of the things I love about teaching here is we are always prompted to think about our curriculum kind of in terms of these larger questions. So instead of kind of telling students like we're just working on these skills, or we're just we're kind of just working on this one particular standard, there's often a larger question, a sort of big question that helps frame all of the things that we do as we're working on skills and all of these things. So our question today that we're going to be kind of thinking about is, what is culture and what are some ways that art and culture connect? So we've been doing some things with math. We're going to kind of shift gears here now, and we're going to move into some art, which maybe for some of you guys is scary, and for some others of you is fun. Okay, can you take us to the next slide, Jackie? Okay, so we're going to do another image association here, and we're going to use the chat feature for this. So as you guys look over these, I believe it's 9 images. Which of these images do you feel like most relate to what you think about culture? And you can just type in that number into the chat, and I'll start kind of reading those out for us. I'm seeing some 8s, 4, 8, 5 in there. Ooh, a lot of 8s, some more 5s, 4, 8, a 2, ooh, 5 and an 8, 6, 8. Interesting, no one has said 9 yet. No pressure, you don't have to say 9. No one has said 1 either. 2, 5, a 1 through 5, and 7 through 8. Someone threw in 1 in there, Miss Dennis. 7. Okay, thank you guys, and feel free, if you didn't get to, you can keep typing those in. But you can kind of get the idea, like so these images are sort of meant to, the activity is meant to be a little bit abstract. And sometimes when you think about culture, like culture can be so many different things and can kind of strike people in different ways, and people can be drawn towards different ideas when we talk about culture. So I love how this exercise maybe pulls out a little bit of that from us. Okay, going on to our next slide here. So we're thinking a little bit about culture. Now what we're going to try to do is we're going to look at an image. So we're going to look at a piece of art. We still have that question of culture in the background, which we're going to come back to. But for now, we're going to kind of like just keep that question in the back of our minds. And we're going to look at this image. And we're going to actually process this image in our small groups again. So we'll go back into our small groups. We'll take a look at this image. And we're going to use 3 questions to process this. This is a thinking routine. So thinking routines are sort of these thinking exercises that frequently have like 2 or 3 or 4 movements to them. And they're a way to kind of guide students through a text, through an image, maybe it's through a short video, through a topic. They're a way to kind of get our thoughts that are in our head sort of out and on paper, or shared out of our mouths with each other. So this thinking routine called See, Think, Wonder, it's very simple. There's just 3 questions. The first question is, what do you see? The second question is, what do you think about what you see? And then the third question is, what do you wonder? Now, ideally, when I'm doing stuff like this in the classroom, we might have like some notebook paper or something. I have like a sticky note at my desk that I'm going to write some of my thoughts on. If you don't have anything to write on, that's okay. You can do this all in your head. But if it's helpful for you and you have like a scrap of paper that you can just grab super quick and jot down a couple ideas, that might be great for this. Okay, so we are going to go into our breakout rooms to process these questions. And I think if the leaders of breakout rooms, if you could maybe give your group like just a minute or 2 or a minute and a half to just sort of look at this image, think through some things, maybe jot down an idea or 2 for anybody who wants to, and then we'll open it up and share. And then we'll have a few more questions to kind of process this afterwards. Well, welcome back, everyone. I'm sorry my group didn't have a ton of time to sort of like process the image and share out the things that we saw, thought, and wondered. A couple people in our group did. So sorry if your group was a little bit short on time. But I think we're trying to be mindful of you guys' time as well. So I know it's 9 o'clock and we want to be honoring of you guys' time, and we have a few more sessions to go on today. But just maybe really quick, is anybody willing to share, just maybe 1 or 2 people willing to share something you saw or thought or wondered in this image?
Mr. McCurry, I just, like, as my group was talking about it and pointing things out, I feel so much more unrest with this image than I originally did. I also know that we do this with our students, and it creates a sense of like desire to understand in community. So I appreciate that parents get to experience what it's like.
Thanks, Ms. Bryant.
I mean, I can just pick out one piece. I think the Band-Aid is facing the viewer. I think that's interesting, instead of facing the child who seems to be in pain, emotional pain.
Thank you, Tori.
I wonder, just for time, if we should go to the next slide, Mr. McCurry.
Oh, yes, sorry. Okay. So, again, I'm sorry we're a little rushed here at the end, you guys, but we're hoping you were at least able to get a tiny bit of a snapshot, or like the beginnings of a snapshot, as to just what our school is like, and some of the questions that we invite students into and our families into. So we're going to close with this final slide here. We're going to do one more deep breathing activity, which, just fun fact, I only found out this morning I was going to be leading the breathing activity.
Whoa.
Before. So
I'm sorry. You guys, I'm sorry, I don't know how to stop. Oh no.
Okay. So I'm going to try to lead us into one final breathing exercise. So we'll just take a couple breaths, and then as just sort of a closing, what if you guys are willing to, you could type into the chats after we do our sort of 2 or 3 kind of closing deep breaths, a response to this sort of prompt here. I hope we can have a culture where, as you think about the culture for your kids, the school that they're entering into, the classes that they'll be in, like what's something that you hope there. You could just type in that, kind of fill in the blank there, and then we'll close our time here. Okay, so first we're gonna do a couple deep breaths. Okay, so we're gonna breathe in through our nose. Maybe just hold it, and then out through your mouth. Maybe we'll do just two more of those. You can just settle yourself a little bit here from all the moving around in different breakout rooms. In through our nose. Hold it for a second, and then out through our mouths. One more time. Okay, and as you finish that last breath, maybe you could type in some final thoughts in the chat here. I'll try to read a few of these out, and we had some fun way of saying goodbye, but I'm forgetting what it is. So if somebody knows what it is.
And Mr. McCurry, I'm going to give you 60 seconds to read some of the comments, and then just say goodbye, and we'll all wave, because we have a meeting starting in 1 minute for our 8th graders.
Okay. A culture where we see people, where all their lives are welcomed, and where we understand that we are so much more than students in a class. A space where everyone feels seen, heard, and understood. There's a good balance of understanding, encouragement, and rigor. Where students support each other and build each other up. Where every student comes out of their shell. That's a beautiful image there. Students want to engage. Where we assume positive intent, there's flexibility and acceptance. So beautiful. There will be respect, understanding, and support. Where kids can feel connected to each other and teachers, even through online learning, where friendships can develop. We can question each other's opinions. A culture where our children can speak up without being intimidated because of their beliefs. These are such beautiful ideas, you guys. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, Ms. Bryant, do I need to, should we close our time now?
I will say there's a meeting later today. There's so many meetings we have planned for our parents. We're so glad you were welcomed into our culture, and this is not the end of it. It's just the beginning. So some music, and everyone wave goodbye. Have a wonderful day. We'll see your kids later.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So for our teachers, we're out. And then we're heading into 8th grade. See you guys later. Fabian, hi! Bye, guys.